Hey, everyone. We are coming live this evening with our one and only Chief Science Officer, Dr. Shawn Talbott. Hey. And I'm so thrilled and honored to bring Dr. Shawn into our groups because of my experience with these products and my family's experience with these products. So if you are coming on live with us, drop a live in the comments. And if you're catching it on the replay, just type replay and we will circle back with any questions. Use the comments for questions because even if Dr. Shawn, we only have him for 30 minutes, if he can't answer them here, we will get the answers and definitely swing back with you. So a little bit about myself before I introduce Dr. Shawn. If you don't know me, my name's Colleen Sullivan. I'm a wellness advocate, but mom first. And the reason why I'm so passionate about mental health, mental wellness, and these products is because of our experience with my son, primarily, who struggled at the young age of 6 all the way through college with ADHD. So I'm an advocate because I never stopped searching for solutions. And at the time, I had this big problem for my child and very little and limited solutions, right? Only being told one thing, put him on this med, this stimulant, and go off on our way. So Dr. Shawn is here, and what I want to say with that is that my son struggled, and there are so many other parents out there with that same overwhelming feeling of navigating, finding the right solution that's safe, that's effective, that works for their kid, that they can be themselves, right? So that was our experience until his senior year when we was introduced to 𝘨𝑚. And let me tell you, things changed drastically for him. It was like night and day, and the veil was lifted. He could be himself. Senior year, even during a pandemic, he got his highest GPA. I know. And proof is in the pudding. These solutions work, right? So welcome, everyone. And let me just introduce our guest tonight. Dr. Shawn Talbott is our Chief Science Officer here at 𝘨𝑚, and he's at the top of the natural science industry. He has his PhD in nutritional biochemistry, has authored over 13 books on stress, cortisol, burnout, nutrition, mental wellness. I can't wait for your new book to come out on the mental wellness diet as well. Numerous appearances on the Dr. Oz show, Dr. Nandi. He is on TV segments on health all over the country. Graced the TED stage, worked with Michelle Obama at the White House. I can go on and on. The last little tidbit I'll mention is his work with the Olympic training team on their nutritional programs because, and I bring all this to the table because I want everyone to know what good hands we are in with you at 𝘨𝑚. So with that, I'm going to let Dr. Shawn take the stage away and talk a little bit about this science, the kids' solutions. And by the way, it can apply to adults too. We just have different formulations. But mental health is mental health, and we can all benefit from it. So Dr. Shawn.
Right, exactly. Hey, Colleen, thanks a lot for having me on today. Yeah, so like what you described, like your story with your son is a very common story. It's the story that we had with our son. We had a 5th grade teacher pull us aside and say, "We think you need to medicate this kid," you know, because he either didn't want to pay attention or couldn't pay attention or wasn't interested or whatever. That's very common sort of a thing. And you know, my wife, to her credit, didn't tell the teacher to just go off and do something. And, you know, she said, "I think my husband's going to have something to say about that because of the kind of work that I do." And so, you know, with my son, we tried a whole bunch of natural ingredients because, like, back in the day, you're right. It used to be that you had the choice of, you know, this stimulant drug or that stimulant drug or this other stimulant drug that, you know, you can get hooked on, you can develop side effects for, you can develop dependence on. Like, I mean, not the exact thing that you want to try with your kid if you can possibly avoid it. And so we tried, with my son, we're putting pine bark in his smoothies and theanine and pomegranate extract and a whole bunch of things. Again, because of the kind of work that I do, I have access to that stuff, putting it in his smoothie while he's going, "Are you putting something in my smoothie?" And we're going, no, it's all fine. And he got such dramatic results that his teachers thought that we had put him on a medication because now he could focus and now he wasn't experiencing the sort of tenseness and the anxiety that was leading to some of his issues. And now he's a academic scholarship student at college, studying game design, comfortable in his own skin, figured out who he is. And that was all facilitated with these natural approaches. And so one of the things that I love about what we're doing here at 𝘨𝑗 is we've been around, we started this company 4 years ago, and we've really focused on the science to say, look, there are natural solutions now that are science-based, that have really good evidence behind them. And then the proof in the pudding is what you already said, that you see it working in your own kids, or you see it working in your own life, or you see it working in your own family. And that's where the real proof, that's where the science shines, right? I can talk to people all day long about the science. Like here's a good example. This is our Kids Mood Plus product, right?
Yep.
This is a little pixie stick for people who have never seen this before. You rip it open, you dump it in your mouth, and the ingredients here, especially the specific saffron extract that we use, has been studied in clinical trials to show equivalence to Prozac for mood benefits in teenagers with depression, and equivalence to Ritalin in children with ADHD. So we use ingredients like that, and then we build on them, and we do our own clinical trials to show that 100% of the kids that tried this in the trial that we did, and the trial that we presented at Experimental Biology earlier the beginning of last year, like sort of right when the pandemic was happening, 100% of the kids had improvements in behavior and focus and resilience and all the things that we want for our kids, and we're able to do it naturally. And I say that because I really feel strongly, as somebody who's studied this for my entire career, if you have a natural option that doesn't have side effects, that can be really effective, that you can see working, and you can get the benefits of that, why would you not try that before you go and try one of these other synthetic options? Like, I'm not an anti-pharmaceutical person, but I'm anti-pharmaceutical if that's the first thing that you're trying, right? Just so that you can say, let's try this first and see if we get these benefits. Because a lot of times with these natural products, you get benefits that are more holistic. So in this product, it's focus that we're getting, and it's mood, and it's resilience. I mean, you're not going to get that from a pharmaceutical option at all. So anyway, those are the kinds of things that we do here at 𝘨𝑗. And like, we have a whole company that's formed around the idea of, yeah, focus is one part of mental wellness, and resilience is one part, but so is your energy, and so is your ability to relax, and so is your sleep quality, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
absolutely. So our mental health, it has that cascading effect, and one leads to the other sometimes. And so let's talk a little bit about the science, Dr. Shawn, a little bit about the second brain, the first brain, because a lot of our members here are new and they're just hearing this for the first time. So just a little snippet.
Yeah, so this is where the science has really fundamentally changed in just the last 5, 6, 7 years. This idea that how we feel is not just in our heads or in our brains in our heads, it's also in the brain in our gut. What we actually call the gut the second brain now. And that's because most of our neurotransmitters are made in our gut. They're made by the bacteria in our gut, what we call the microbiome. So we can measure that 90% of our serotonin, the neurotransmitter that helps us be happy versus sad, is made in the gut. We know that most of our dopamine, probably around 70%, the neurotransmitter that helps with motivation, is made in the gut. Most of the norepinephrine that helps us focus, most of the GABA that helps us relax when we're stressed, are all made in the gut. And it's not like, it's not like we make these neurotransmitters in the gut and then they leak out of the gut into the bloodstream, and then they leak out of the bloodstream into the brain, and therefore we feel better and perform better. It doesn't exactly work that way. But what we do know is that we can modulate the production of these neurotransmitters in the gut. And as a result of that, people do feel better. They have better focus. They have better resilience. They have, you know, all these different slices of the mental wellness paradigm are improved if we focus on the gut first. And that's because we really view the microbiome, this collection of bacteria in your gut, we view it as a natural internal pharmacy that produces all of these things. But really importantly, it's a dynamic pharmacy. And what I mean by that is that it produces the things you need in the right amounts when you need them. And that is a game changer, because if someone's not feeling the way they want to feel or performing the way they want to perform, and especially when it's your kids, you want to help your kids. If we can do something in their gut to improve how they feel, how they perform, how they behave in social situations, how they show up to a given situation, total game changer in every way imaginable.
Right, right. And you said something there that was so key, because when we are using a pharmaceutical and targeting just one aspect, it's really not addressing the root cause.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's going to make you feel different. I like how you always say less bad, but is it going to make you feel how we want to feel?
Yeah, that's it. And that's exactly it. Like, so I said, I'm not anti-pharmaceutical, because sometimes there are cases where that's the right approach for a particular period of time until you solve the root cause of the actual problem. That drug isn't doing that. That drug is really just helping you, like you just said, I say this all the time, feel less bad. You might feel bad. The drug helps you feel less bad. It doesn't take you from feeling bad to feeling good, or performing poorly to performing better, because it hasn't addressed that root cause. And so sometimes the root cause is something we can do in the brain. And so we've got natural solutions that help with neurotransmitter balance in the brain, or help with blood flow, or help with different activation patterns. Sometimes it's in the gut. Sometimes it's in what we call the axis. So a lot of times when we talk about this concept of two brains, we say the gut-brain axis, and the axis is this connection network whereby the two brains communicate to each other. And that's partly your nervous system, and it's partly your inflammatory cascade, and it's partly your immune system. So I say all that because the exciting thing about where the science has progressed to where we are right now in 2021 is that we have so many effective tools that we can offer up to parents to say, look, give this a try, you know, give this one a try, or give the gut-brain axis one a try, or give good nutrition that nourishes the brain in a way that maybe your child isn't getting. And, you know, those work for kids, they work for teenagers, they work for adults, they work for everybody across the spectrum.
Right. So a lot of moms ask me, like, for nutrition tips on top of, you know, this supplementation, which I think is a key, you know, part of it. But if we can also, and sometimes the cart comes before the horse, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You can speak on that. But then, you know, once we get the microbiome in a state, like, I know for my children, my ADHD son was always kind of a healthy eater, thank goodness. But my daughter,
and that's rare, actually, to have
an
ADHD kid who's a healthy eater. That's almost unheard of.
I know. It was my daughter, who's my non-ADHD, who, you know, could eat, you know, I can count the number of things she would eat on one hand.
Exactly.
And she went on the products, Dr. Shawn, and it changed how she eats. It changed. She is craving healthier things. She came home from college and I'm like, who are you? Right. But there are some nutrition tips that you can kind of offer up.
Yeah, I tell parents have probably heard this before, especially if they've delved into any of the, you know, the ADHD kind of literature, right? You know, try to limit sugar, try to limit processed foods, try to limit artificial colors and dyes and, you know, sweeteners and things like that. Eat more fiber, eat more brightly colored fruits and vegetables and those sorts of things. But, like, you know, and you can see that I'm kind of saying this kind of like, you know, you've heard it before. And, but like we struggled with that, right? The son that I just described was also a very picky eater. And so here I am, you know, esteemed nutritionist, Dr. Shawn Talbott, who can't even get his own kid to eat fruits and vegetables, right? So I'm right there with everybody else. And so that's where I think the supplements sometimes fill that gap to be able to say, look, the supplement isn't the whole program. It's not everything that we want people to do. We still want them to do those good, lifestyle choices. But if we can use that supplement to change what the microbiome is producing, or change what the brain and the head is receiving, or clear up the signaling that's going across the axis, that's going to get that person, kid, teenager, adult, whoever, to feel better, to have more energy. It literally changes their appetite, because a lot of our appetite signals and our cravings are actually signals that are coming from the microbiome telling the brain what they want to eat. And so if you can change those signals, your focus is better, your resilience is better, your tension is lower, and then they're doing better. And because they're doing better, they start making these positive changes in other aspects of their life. And so, parents will say to me all the time, they're like, yeah, we started like, and it's bewildering to them. They go, I've been telling them to do this since they were this high, and they started taking the supplement, and now they're doing it by themselves. What's up with that? But we hear that all the time, because that's the behavior change that you see. Exactly.
So Dr. Shawn, we talked a little bit about the science. Like, why are we just now learning this? Like, how long has it been? Like, because I didn't know the word microbiome until like 2 years ago when I was introduced.
Right. And still most people have no idea what the microbiome is. Like, the first couple times you hear what we just talked about, microbiome and gut-brain axis, and, what you're getting here in your brain is actually coming from here. Like, that should actually sound kind of like science fiction the first couple of times you see it. But when you go out and you Google about it and you type in, microbiome mental wellness, or microbiome ADHD, or ADHD gut-brain axis, any of this kind of stuff, you're going to see now there are thousands of studies. I do this sometimes when I'm on these calls. This is my latest to read pile, right? And this is only a couple of weeks of research studies that have come out. We used to know nothing about this, and now we know so much more. There are hundreds of studies come out every single week just telling us more and more about this. And the reason that that's important is that the more we know about it, the more sort of precisely we can know all the nuances about, like, all right, what bacteria is it, and what is it producing, and how does it get the signal up to the brain? The more we're able to tease that out, the more we're able to develop natural therapies to modulate those pathways. And then we can develop a product like this one that I showed people. And we can say, look, we learned all the science, we built it into this thing, and you don't even have to understand the science, but now you can do this and you can get those benefits of science. So, but there's new things coming out every day. Like, just last year, we learned that if we change the microbiome in a particular way, we knew that people were feeling better, right? So we could see different mood states and, levels of stress and things like that. So we knew that piece of it. As we started studying it more and more and more, we started to see that people were actually able to learn better. And what we found just last year, that the microbiome has an effect on making something called Bdnf in the body. Bdnf stands for this neurotrophic factor called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That not only protects the brain, the brain cells in your brain, in your head, the neurons, it encourages the growth of new neurons. And that is the thing that makes your brain what we call plastic. It can actually help your brain learn better. It can help your brain be more creative. It can help with memory. It can help with mood. And your brain, the reason we call it plastic is because your brain actually changes its wiring into a better, more high performance machine. And we're getting that effect through natural means that happen by the food that we feed our gut. It's like mind-blowing.
Literally.
Literally, right.
Right. So we get that by just modulating the microbiome.
Yeah, yeah. So and we found this kind of accidentally. You know, we've known for a while that BDNF has these benefits, but we didn't know that we could really nutritionally modulate it. We were looking at it from the perspective of some nutrients we were looking at from a mental and physical performance aspect, and we found that, right? That actually proved out to be true. But then we found this BDNF effect, and so now we're like, wow, this is yet another layer of new natural therapies that we're able to offer to people.
Wow. So before we kind of slide into, I think that it was a nice little segue into our new product, Edge, just want to touch on our other two. We talked about the kids' mood a lot, the fundamentals, why it's not just a probiotic.
Right.
And then the vitamin that a lot of parents are looking at, like why it's not just an ordinary vitamin.
Yeah, so let me talk about the vitamin first. So it's called 𝘨𝘠𝘐𝑏x, and it's got 50 plus nutrients in it, and that's unheard of for a children's vitamin. So it's all the essential vitamins, all the essential minerals, and then a lot of phytonutrients, which you almost never find. Phytonutrients, plant extracts, that you almost never find in children's vitamins because they don't taste particularly good. So the challenge for companies is to say, do we want to do a vitamin that tastes good? If we want to do that, we'll pack it with sugar, or we'll pack it with some artificial flavors and sweeteners, and we'll only put in a few B vitamins because those don't taste very much anyway. And then you get something that tastes okay, but it has no nutrition. Or you take the approach that we did, was we wanted to pack in as much nutrition as possible, especially for the brain, to help the brain be able to focus and be resilient. But those nutrients don't necessarily taste good. So it was a long process for us to get to something that tasted like a sweet tart, you know, that kids could actually chomp on in the morning and not spit right out, right? So that's that. It's really going to help kids with getting that optimal level of nutrition.
Right.
But then our fundamentals, our kids' fundamentals, it has probiotics in it, but it doesn't only have probiotics. So we have probiotics, which are the healthy bacteria. We have prebiotics, which are the fibers that feed those bacteria. And then we have something called phytobiotics that can help protect those bacteria. So if our objective is to make sure the microbiome is optimized as possible in those kids, and it's sending the right signals across the axis up to the brain so that they can perform at their highest level, we want to make sure that we give the right bacteria and nourish those bacteria and protect them. But then we also do this other thing that we hardly ever talk about because it kind of gets into the weeds. We also deliver these compounds called postbiotics, which is the actual compounds that have those signaling effects. So, you know, if people look at it and think it's just a probiotic, it's not that at all. It's an entire comprehensive, balanced gut-brain axis system.
Wow. Hear that, everyone? Comprehensive system. All right, so let's just talk a little bit. I want to get to maybe one or two of these questions, but let's touch on our new product, Edge, that we're all so excited about. I would be drinking it, but I'm all out. So
oh no,
drinking my energy still. I know, but how it can help kids with some of these issues. I know it's a great tool for me as an adult, but yeah.
So Edge is our new product. It's just on pre-sale right now. It starts officially shipping the later part of this month. But it's a product that boosts mood, motivation, and metabolism all in one product, and it does it with no sugar, no carbohydrates, nothing artificial, no caffeine, no stimulants, nothing like that. So it's a really, really clean, like, what we call clean label product. It doesn't have any chemicals, doesn't have anything synthetic, nothing like that. It's healthy, and it delivers all these wonderful sort of functional benefits. And it does it through 3 ingredients. We have a mango leaf extract, a lychee fruit extract, and a palm fruit extract. And it's that palm fruit extract that increases the BDNF levels. And that was one of the cool things we found last year. And we said, we have to use this in this forthcoming product. So, one of the things I love about it is that those 3 ingredients have so much science behind them around mental cognition, around physical performance, around metabolism, which is our way of saying better blood sugar control and better fat burning. So you bring all of that together, and people will kind of look at it and go, well, that's great, So is it kind of like an energy product? And it is. And is it kind of like a fat burner kind of a product? Kind of is. Is it kind of like a creativity, make you think better and, help you do your job better? It kind of is. It's all of that wrapped up into one. And we're really excited about it because it kind of ticks off the main boxes that people are looking for. And it's all natural, and it's clean label, and it tastes good, and all those kinds of things. So we're super excited about it.
Yeah. So as far as kids go, Dr. Shawn, I know I talked to you or asked this question on another call that I was on with you about the metabolism piece. Like so many parents.
Can I stop you for a second? I just saw something pop up that says AKA magic.
Yeah.
Let me just say to people, it's going to feel like magic, but it is science, right? And that's when science becomes really cool. If you can build the science in and it works so well that people go, wow, that was magical. You did it.
And take it from me firsthand, because I was part of that early testing group. It does feel like magic. It's like, wait a minute, what am I feeling? And it just comes over you.
Right.
But I do want to touch on the metabolism piece for some parents that they don't want their kids to lose weight. They're,
right.
They might, but you answered that question before on another call.
So the weight loss benefit it's a benefit for people who need that benefit. So the way that we refer to that is we say that the metabolic benefit is permissive for weight loss. So your blood sugar, everybody wants better blood sugar control and better fat metabolism. Everybody wants that, no matter if you have weight to lose or not. And so if you don't have weight to lose, the benefit of that is that you're going to have better physical energy. You're going to have better mental energy. Your brain's going to work better. Wow. If you do need to lose weight, having better blood sugar control and better fat metabolism is going to facilitate your body's ability to shed that fat and access that fat as an energy source. And so that's the difference there. Everybody wants metabolic control, and some people will have weight loss as a result of that metabolic control.
Awesome. Awesome. One more question, because it does have to do with EDGE. For parents that are not really seeing the results they want with the kids line, will this be something like we can kind of stack on and maybe they'll see, better results? Or
that's exactly how it's been developed. It's been, and Carlene, you used the word perfectly, stacking. All of our products in our line are designed to be used in conjunction with each other. It would be impossible for somebody to get into a mega dose situation because they combine product A, B, and C. They're designed from the ground up to be stacked. And that's because of the overlapping nature of mental wellness issues. Sometimes somebody might be stressed out and a little depressed and a little bit anxious at the same time. And then somebody else might be a little bit fatigued and have a little bit of brain fog and a little bit of, but there's always that overlap. So the ability to stack really lets people sort of customize whatever sort of regimen that is. So I could see people stacking EDGE with Mood Plus in their kids who really need to focus. I could see them stacking EDGE with the kids' fundamentals for kids who need more resilience and more like recovery from their sports or something like that. So there'll be a lot of those examples that we're going to see as the product gets out there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic. I know you have another call at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to just send you some of these questions and maybe we'll just share with our group after the fact. But guys, if you have any questions for Dr. Shawn, for myself, if you want more information about these solutions, put solutions in the comments, tag the person who invited you here, and we will get the information to you. I cannot thank you enough, Dr. Shawn. You are like one of my heroes because of what it's done for my son. I mean, that's my testimonial of
awesome.
A win for a mom, a win for her son.
Yeah, well, that's why we do this, right? To hear those stories. So exactly. I appreciate you sharing that.
Exactly.
Great
Thanks
to see
so
you.
Much. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.